to be talking to Tan France today, all about his fatherhood journey and about just becoming a dad and how it's been so far. He has a little baby, and transitioning to having a newborn is a whole experience. So I can't wait to hear about how it's been for him. And we'll see. Oh, there he is. So we will bring him on. And daddyhood, what it's like. We've been trying to book this for so long, and the baby came. So I'm so happy to be talking to him now. I just sent him a request. So we'll see if it works or if I need to do it again. But we have great questions. Hello.
Hello, my dear. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, Daddy?
Oh, do you know? Barely sleeping, but other than that, I'm well.
Oh my gosh. How old's the baby now?
He is 11 and a half weeks, but so his name is Ismail. For anyone watching, his name is Ismail, and he was 7 weeks and a few days early, and so although he's 11 weeks, he's still teeny, 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 tiny.
Oh my gosh. I know. I was reflecting on when that whole thing happened for you when he was coming so early and we were
Yeah.
do a whole thing. And that's, I mean, what a kind of a quick introduction to parenthood for you. What was
Yet
that like?
terrifying. First
Yeah.
off, Eva Chen is on here saying hello. So hello, Eva Chen. We love you
Oh,
very much. And then secondly, I don't think one can prepare for having a baby enough, and
yeah.
then one definitely can't prepare for having a baby so early. So we were not ready in any way. Our nursery wasn't ready. We hadn't purchased anything because we thought, who has a baby 2 months early? We've got plenty of time. And we had just gotten off our baby moon literally 2 days prior. And so can I just tell you what happened real quick? I'll give
Yeah.
you cliff notes. So we went to Iceland for our baby moon. We didn't know anything about baby moon. Somebody asked us about it a while ago. We were like, that's a very American concept, but
Yeah.
that sounds fun, so we'll do it. And then we went away, had 10 days away. My husband came back to America. We live in Salt Lake City, Utah, as our primary residence. And then I went to London to start shooting something, thinking I've got plenty of time. And after I shoot this thing for 2.5 weeks, I'll go back to Salt Lake, and that still gives me 7 weeks before he's due, and we'll start to get everything ready. And then my husband texted me 1,000 times overnight. Obviously, there's a time difference. I was in the UK, and he texted 1,000 times saying, "Call me, call me, call me, call me, call me, call me, call me." And so I called him as soon as I woke up, and he was like, "He's here." And I was like, "Who is here?" And he said, "Our baby is here." And I broke down. It was beautiful, but so upset. It was just scary.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's such a, I mean, unpredictable series of events. And then
Yeah.
so early, and you were planning on being there for the birth and he just came super early.
Yeah, we were planning to be there for the birth. We had planned what our nursery was going to look like. We planned how we were going to bring him home, and so we did surrogacy,
Yeah.
and so we had been asking our surrogacy consultant. We were like, "What happens once the baby's born? We just bring him home, and we're expected to be on our own?" And she was like, "Yep, that's just the way that works."
Wow.
And so it did not go down that way at all. Our baby, because he was so early, he was in the NICU for a few weeks. And so it was a very different plan to what we had originally planned, which was the normal thing. Well, not normal, but the ordinary plan is you have your baby, or the surrogacy has your baby. Sorry, surrogate has your baby. Can you tell I've not slept? Um, So your surrogate has your baby, and then you take care of the baby once the surrogate leaves, and then a couple of days later you take your baby home. But I will say, I as much as it was terrifying having the baby in the NICU, it did help prepare us for what life would be when we got home. I don't know how they just send moms home with a baby without giving them a few days to practice the best practices. We
Right.
had 3.5 weeks of learning. Okay, this is how you swaddle a baby. This is how you feed your baby. This is how you change your baby. This is how
Right.
you get gas out. All of those things. I don't understand how we just abandoned these women saying, okay, the baby's out, now go home,
I
figure it
know.
out.
I know. It's really crazy. I remember being in the hospital for like the first night and just thinking like, okay, so now what am I supposed to do with her? Like, do I just watch her, just like stare at her the whole night to make sure she's breathing? And they're just like,
Yeah,
you're on your own now. And then of course, like, COVID makes it a whole different experience, which I'm sure was different in the making
yeah.
of you guys too. Were you able to go in there all the time and be with the baby?
Yeah, it was sad though. So we could go in as often as we wanted for as long as we wanted, but nobody was able to come and visit. We couldn't have any help.
Yeah.
So uh, my husband, his name's Rob. His parents couldn't help. His siblings couldn't come. And when you have, so I'm from a very South Asian family, a very, very, very Pakistani family. And when you have a baby, normally the mom will go back to her mom's house and they would stay for at least 40 days. And the family, we truly believe in it takes a village. It's very much our culture. And so the family really gets involved and you feel that love from your family. Having a baby during COVID has been so strange. Literally no one's been able to hold him other than the nurses at the hospital. And we haven't really been able to feel that love from family and friends, even though I know that they are so supportive. Nobody can come and see him, so it's a strange feeling.
Yeah. How do you guys manage that feeling? Because I think that it's so many people, I had a baby during COVID. You guys have had a baby.
Yeah,
It is a very isolated, lonely experience compared to
yeah,
people who talk about their experiences having a baby pre-COVID. It is this very much like, family comes, they flock to
yeah.
beautiful experience of everybody being hands on deck and like in helping you. And you don't have that having a baby in COVID. How has
Mm-mm.
that been?
Really hard for me. It was really sad. Thankfully, we don't have the hormone imbalances a woman would have potentially having the baby and feeling the effects of postpartum or just feeling the change in general. We have the luxury of just having our baby and feeling mentally the way we did prior, other than exhaustion. And so it, but it still felt really isolating. You still feel really alone. And my husband and I am blessed with a wonderful husband who I love so much after 14 years. He's still my favorite person. And so it's lovely that I have him and he has me. But sometimes you really just do need more people to help. And I'm a very, very social person. And so that helps me keep my mental health strong. And so to not have friends and family did affect me mentally. And so I think that it has been a much weirder, harder experience having our first child, and hopefully it will in the future. We plan to have more, hopefully. And we would love to have a different experience next time when we do have the support of family and friends.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, whether you have postpartum hormones or not, I'm sure also, like you have a hormone fluctuation, even just having a baby be around you for the first time,
Yeah,
needing to be that care 24/7, you're tired, you're trying to provide, learn also a whole new role in your life is
yeah.
add. And I
Can
think
I
that,
Can
yeah,
I speak to that a second?
yeah.
In our world, we are incredibly lucky that we could potentially have help if we wanted to. And the question before we had our baby from all of my industry friends was, when's the night nurse going to, or the night nanny, in England we call them a night nurse. When's the night nurse going to start? When's the nanny going to start? And I was like, oh no, for the first few months, we want to do this on our own. And I don't know if I felt a sense of wanting to be a martyr to show we can beat these women all over the world who don't have the resources that we have can do this. We should be able to do this. It's one baby. Whew. Yes, absolutely. These women do it. They are clearly much stronger than I. 2 months and a couple of weeks in, I was like, we need a bit of help. So we finally got a night nurse about 4 days ago. So we're
Mhm.
currently in our LA home. We don't have a night nurse here, but in Salt Lake we do. Just 5 nights, and we still want to keep it real and experience what it's really like to have a baby. So on the weekends when I'm not working, we will manage him ourselves. But here's the real. I so wanted to be the parent that could manage my baby all day, every day, and at night. I have to perform for a living. It's my job. And if I had a different job, if this was me 10 years ago and I had a job where I could, where I didn't have to be TV San France all the time, I absolutely would have pushed to make sure I was the stay-at-home parent as much as possible. That was my dream. It's just not possible with the life that I have. I was trying so hard to perform on camera. I couldn't read a script properly. I couldn't read a teleprompter properly. I kept fading out when somebody would talk and they'd say, "Tan Tan, energy, energy." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I've only slept 2 hours." It's just, it just wasn't possible to live my fantasy of being a stay-at-home parent.
Well, how do you deal with that? Because I think that's also relatable for, for anyone, is just this idea of
Yeah,
like, I'm going to do it. You have these expectations, and then things don't, I mean, whether it's you're welcoming your child early or,
yeah,
not having help when you thought that you were going to kind of like do it all on your own, which is
yeah,
like, I'm such a big believer in everybody parenting and doing whatever they want to make things work. Like
same,
I think
same.
nobody should have judgment towards if you have one person help, if your parents move in, if your whole family moves in, like
Yeah,
you need to make sure that your mental health is okay and that
yeah,
you're the best parent that you can be and also partner that you can be. Do it.
yeah,
Um,
agreed.
I love all of that. But I love it also when people are open and honest about the fact that like you have one idea, something doesn't go the way you think it will, and then also being gentle with yourself, like you're not forcing yourself to do it,
Yeah,
and making sure you put your mental health first.
yeah.
Is what has that kind of been like for you to kind of shift what you thought it would be?
That's the hardest, that without doubt has been the hardest part. I would like to believe that up until the point when we had Ishmael, my mental health has been strong and typically has been, and it's very rare I've thought of my own mental health. I'm such a positive, peppy person. Anyone who knows me, who you might ever speak to in the future, if you would say, "What's one thing you can tell me about Tan?" My castmates in particular would say, he always finds a silver line. He's the peppiest person you'll ever meet, which I think often they find infuriating, but I'm always positive. However, I've struggled a lot since he came because I feel such extreme guilt, and that's screwing with my mental health. I feel like I'm not a good enough father. I'm not a good enough employee, and my dream truly was to stay at home, and therefore I could have committed all my time and my energy to him, and that, in my opinion, would have made me a strong parent. However, I've had to shift that completely, and I won't say that I've figured it out at all. I haven't. I literally cried a couple of days ago with my husband. I'd been away for the first time for 2 days since he was born, and I felt physically sick so often, thinking, I can't believe I've left my child, and I'm not leaving him with somebody who doesn't know him. I'm leaving him with his father.
Yeah.
But that's also my responsibility. And so so much of it isn't that I'm not able to be there for him, because I know that my husband, who's a pediatric nurse, can handle our son. I felt such guilt that I've not been there for my husband, who it's hard being on your own all day, every day with a baby. It is exhausting. And so knowing that he was home 24/7 with our child really was difficult for me. So that's the thing that affects my mental health, and I'm constantly beating myself up about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the spousal support and also just relationship between two people when a baby comes into the world is
Mm.
something we don't talk enough about. And I remember reading a book right before I had my daughter, and it was talking about um, just the importance of checking in with your
Yeah,
partner, always making sure to have an open line of communication, because oftentimes one partner will feel neglected, the other partner will feel badly
yeah,
about certain things and certain
yeah.
roles taken on. Have you guys had an open line of communication, or how has that been for your guys' relationship?
Yes, thank gosh. I'm an over communicator. My husband um, absolutely was not. My husband is from Wyoming, and his family is very Mormon, and they don't usually talk about feelings.
Yeah.
Everything's just under the rug. So he's had to learn over the last few years to really talk about everything, because I won't allow anything other than that. I need to be able to solve a problem together, and so we've had so many years of practice now that our son's here, we talk about how we're feeling, and he's been amazing. My husband's been incredible, and he's just let me be upset when I need to be upset, saying I feel such guilt. He reminds me constantly, you've got nothing to feel guilty about. You're out working. He quit his job a year and a half. He retired a year and a half ago from being a pediatric nurse, and so now he works from home. He's an artist, and so he says, well, it's not crucial for me to work every hour. I can work around when the baby sleeps. It's not a big deal. So he's so incredibly understanding. But the more understanding he is, the more guilty I feel, thinking you're hiding how you feel. I know I sound nuts. I know I'm positive I sound nuts, but I just I can't shake the feeling of just uh being a disappointment in
Right.
this situation. And I know if anybody else, if any of my friends were to say this, I'd tell them, you're out of your mind. Like, you are working so hard to make sure that you can provide for your family. And that is why I have the job that I have, to provide for my children and to give them the best life I can possibly give them. I'm from as we refer to it in England, a working class family. We were quite poor. And so I want to make sure that my children have everything that I could possibly give them. So I know why I'm doing it. It still eats me up desperately, even though I know that my husband doesn't judge me for it.
I think it's so like, we hear about guilt for parents so frequently, and
Yeah.
whether going back to work. I mean, you jumped right back into work, right? You didn't really even have any paternity leave.
I was meant to have 7 weeks, but because he came so early, you will know this all too well, but with industry work, once you've signed that contract and you're already in production, you can't halt for one person. That's so many people's jobs on the line. So I had no other option. My paternity leave was meant to start a month later, so I had to just continue working.
Yeah. And how has that been for you? I mean, to go from work life and home to dad life, what's that transition like for you? In that role to working.
I'm still working on it. Um, it's been manageable because I'm forcing myself to be as uh, as present as physically possible when I'm not shooting. And so as soon as I get home, I make it very clear to Rob, okay, now it's my turn, even though he fights it. I'll say, you now go do whatever you want to do, chill, watch TV, take a bath, whatever. And I'm now going to step into full dad duties. And so that's how I'm managing it, by trying to work 24/7, which I know is not healthy. Ask me again in 3 months, Katherine, and I'll tell you how I'm feeling. That at this point, 3 months in, I'm managing. But it's a weird transition because we are so coddled in my industry. We're treated like babies. Somebody brings me lunch when I need it. So everybody makes sure I'm okay all day, every day, so I can then do my job. And then when I get home, I'm making sure that this other person, my baby, is taken care of all day, every day, so it can get on with its feeding and its sleeping. And so it's a weird reality. It's such a major life shift, going from just focusing on yourself and your partner and your job to now focusing on, quite honestly, primarily on a person. My job, as much as anyone who's watching from Netflix, I'm so sorry for saying this, but I'm just going to say it. I go in and just do the job. Like, I just think, okay, I'm just going to go through the motions. I'm not really focusing. I'm focusing on when I finish so I can get home and take care of my child.
Yeah, but I think that especially every parent, but every new parent especially, can totally relate to that. You want to kind of get in and get out and just go home and be with your baby, especially your baby is
Yeah,
so new and
yeah,
tiny and has needs.
yeah.
You want to be a present parent.
Well, also, I mean, we have an issue. I'm just going to talk about this, and if you would like to stop talking about it, we can stop talking about it. But I have a major issue with the way we work this in America. I'm British and I'm also American. I'm a dual citizen. I've been here for 14 years now, but I haven't forgotten policy in the UK. Moms and dads get a decent amount of time off to take care of their children. And I think that's why we don't have as much of a mental health issue for new parents as we do here in this country. I don't know what the actual legal amount is, but in Utah, where we live, the minimum requirement is 2 weeks. And that's not long enough for a parent to be at home. And and feel settled with their baby and then to go back to work. I think it's inhumane, actually. I think so many people, I'm hoping that so many people are understanding where I'm coming from on this live, because most of them, I'm assuming, are American, and they understand that we just don't have the luxury in this country of being able to have 9 months paid leave, full paid leave, like we do in Europe. And I think it's a travesty that we claim to be the greatest nation in the world, yet we treat our parents this way.
No, I mean, listen, I totally agree. And I think it's such an important topic to talk about. And also just the pressure that I think we put on ourselves when we're a new parent to, I mean, so many of us will, you see people who do take time, and then you also see people who are showing life on Instagram where they're quickly back at work and they seem to have acclimated really well. And then you kind of wonder, why aren't I doing that? Why aren't I able to,
Mm-hmm.
come home from the hospital as a new parent and just kind of hop right back to it, and seem to seemingly take care of a newborn really well, you know?
I don't know how you feel about this on social. I so often on Instagram, this is going to sound like bullish, but I promise it's not. I often truly forget about the audience that I'm posting to. I just post my social content as if I did 3.5 years ago when I had 200 followers who I knew every one of them very intimately. They were my closest friends and family. So I still do that. But I feel like it's my responsibility to continue to show. It is really hard. When I've had a crappy night, I will post in the middle of the night saying, I'm struggling, I really am. And when I'm at work, I show that I look exhausted. Of course, I'm exhausted. I'm a person, a real person, not just this performing robot. And I think it's my responsibility to make sure that people see this isn't, there's no such thing as perfection or the same life you had when you had the baby. There's no such thing at all. And I think if somebody doesn't show that in our position, I think they're doing their audience a disservice, because it does make people feel such guilt. I do this. Uh, it's almost like an online journal every week where I talk about what it's been like as a new parent and navigating work life and being a parent. And I talked about it a few days ago, saying that we finally hired a night nurse, and there were very few comments in my DM saying mean things like that's super unrelatable that you would talk about having a night nurse when so many of us can't. And actually, I replied to this person to say that's the exact opposite of what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I can't manage it all. I always thought that I could do it all. I can't. No
Mhm.
one can. I needed help, and thankfully, I'm in a privileged enough position to be able to afford a night nurse. I understand that's not the case for most people, but I don't want to pretend when I turn up on set, if I look fresh as a daisy one day, people thinking, "Gosh, he's fine. How am I struggling so much?" No, I want you to know it's because I had help.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think that's to talk about that openly and share all of that, I think is so important. And I try
Hmm.
to do that as well, whether it's like, the breastfeeding journey that I've been on, or just like hormone shifts or hormone fluctuations, or just being a new parent in general. It is really important because you have a huge amount of people who are following you and also
Yeah,
watching on this journey, and to be able to see like, okay, he's struggling too. That makes it okay that I'm struggling. If
yeah,
one person has that reaction, then that means that you've, made an impact. And also when it comes to, being open about hiring a night nurse or being able to, I will warn you, unfortunately, that people are so quick to judge
yeah.
what decisions are. And I have very quickly realized, my mom told me this very early on, that there's nothing that you can do to make everyone
I
happy.
know, I
And
know.
I always like, I look at these the parent shamers all the time on social media, and I'm like, it would just be so awesome if everybody was like, good for you for
I
hiring
know,
to help you, and like,
I
thank you
know.
for saying that. And of course, it's an ideal situation, but is
No, here's the thing. I don't even need them to say well done. I just need them to not make that mean comment. I just avoid making that mean comment. Actually, side note, and I know that we're talking about babies. I met your mom like 2 years ago, and she couldn't have been nicer. She was the sweetest. Like, we were both getting our hair done at the same time in the same green room. I can't remember if it was the Today Show or Good Morning America, one of those shows. She was just
yeah.
the nicest. Anyway,
Oh, you
she
know what?
raised,
Told me about that
yeah,
after she met you. I was like, oh my God, I'm so jealous.
she was so incredibly sweet. So incredibly
Oh,
sweet. Yeah.
just
So actually, I do want to know. I don't quite honestly right now, again, because we're so isolated with our baby journey. I don't actually know. how Western culture really does this. Again, Eastern culture, we are so ingratiated in each other's business, and therefore we don't really hire nannies and night nurses because our families all raise our children together. How
Yeah.
has that been for you? Have you found that family and friends have helped during COVID, or they can't because of COVID? What's your deal?
Yeah, I mean, when my daughter was first born, I did have a night nurse. And with COVID, especially at the very beginning, I was so nervous about everything, about anybody coming into my home. And I had
Yeah,
been, since I was little, I knew I wanted to be a mom. And
me too.
uh, you know it forever, and then you
Yeah,
have an idea of what it will be like. And my whole family's very close, so I have all my girl cousins, and you kind of have this,
great.
oh, I can't wait till you're pregnant and we can all be around each other. And so I didn't, when I was newly pregnant is really when the pandemic started. So I didn't see anybody my whole
Yeah,
pregnancy. And then when the baby was born, when my family first met her, everybody had to be in quarantine and COVID tested, and it was a whole ordeal. So my mom would come over and my sister would come over a lot, and my brothers and my dad, but everybody had to be mindful of when they got tested, and it was such
yeah,
a thing. So
yeah,
now that people can get vaccines, and also that people have a better understanding of COVID,
yeah,
um, my sister is watching my daughter right now, so
yeah,
it's really just so amazing. My family lives 7 minutes from me, so it's really great to be able to have them so close and to be able to help. But it's also, I'm also super open about the fact that, like, sometimes I'll say to my husband, okay, you're home for a little bit, I need you to watch her really quickly. And
yeah.
so really great hands-on dad, so I'll give her to him, or I'll have my mom will watch her. She came and has had a
Can
date
I
night today.
can I can I ask you about your dynamic as parents also, because your husband is also an entertainer.
Yeah.
I think I want to just be validated, but don't feel the pressure to. Does he feel the same guilt when he's working all day and then he comes home? I want to understand if when the parent, because I only understand my husband's perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and he's not an entertainer and he's with the baby all day, and I'm assuming you're the primary caregiver then, so you're with the baby all day. Does your partner also feel pressure to make sure that they compensate when he gets home, to make
Yeah.
sure that he feels like he's taking care of the
We
baby?
actually had a similar thing. So when Lila was first born, my husband was in the middle of filming, came home for me to go into labor and to, have the baby. He was home for about 2.5 or 3 weeks. And then, he had a whole production waiting for him, similar to you,
Yeah,
the UK. And he, had to be present, and he was, FaceTiming all the time. We were trying to
all the time.
as kind of in the loop as possible. And he would talk about, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. I want to be able to be there. And the baby's just, just born. And
And
you,
how did you feel about that?
I,
Did you feel understanding? Did you feel bitter at all?
no, because I'm in a very lucky situation that I could ask my mom about everything, because my dad was my mom and dad had a
Okay.
big,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah, because my dad was, working, he was filming and left, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I was born. And then I would talk to my mom. I'd be like, how did you deal with that? How did you manage that when dad left? Like, what was that like? And she was like, she told me from the very beginning, you might be nervous about it right now, but the reality is that so much attention is just focused on feeding the baby, putting
Yeah.
the sleep, changing the baby. There's so much you just want to focus on right when the baby's born,
Yeah.
and it'll be fine. And I was like, it's not going to be fine. And then it happened, and I was like, it's going to be fine. It's
Yeah.
totally fine. But he definitely felt like, he wished he would be able to be home, to be there for those moments. But I just tried to be as encouraging as possible, and to be, as also as positive as possible, that he's out,
Yeah.
working. I was able to be home with my daughter, and now in a situation where I'm able to work from home. So I
Yeah.
able to have my sister come over and help me, and and also be able to encourage him to be able to go and work out of the house as well.
Because I will say this, I'm not trying to defend myself or your husband. Um, it depends on the person, obviously, the partner who's out of the house. We feel we feel so much worse knowing that we should be home. Like we feel, I know that you guys probably feel horrible that you're at home on your own. Believe me, we feel it too. I feel physically sick when I'm away thinking, I can't believe they're on their own without me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have a full pediatric doctor in around your child. That must put you at such ease all the time. If you like, my child is so.
Actually, we have a few other things. Can I talk products? I won't get, I'm not sponsored by any of these. Yeah, I swear I'm not sponsored by any of these companies, but there are a couple of things that are, in my opinion, game changers. And I know that they're a high price point. Even if I didn't have the job that I have, there are a couple of these things that I would rather sacrifice many of the cutesy little things for these couple of things. There's something called an owlet or
Yeah.
owlet.
Yeah.
That gives me comfort at night when we put that on him. I just think, okay, at least we know he's still breathing. If there's something wrong, it will let me know. And then we have this certain kind of baby monitor that's like a backup to the owlet. So it tells us his temperature, it tells us how often he's breathing. It's called a Miku or Miku,
Oh, I have that.
M-I-K-U.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two combined, the amount of times people said, oh, every night from the first night you take your baby home, you're going to worry that
That they
they're
saw.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't know how to nicely articulate that, but something's going to happen.
Yeah.
I actually, thankfully, that's one comfort I have, thinking, okay, if something is wrong, I will be alerted by these two gadgets that we have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely like, I was so anxious in the very beginning, and I would just like watch to make sure she was still breathing in the very beginning.
Yeah,
I think every new parent relates to
yeah,
checking
yeah.
on them constantly. And then there are these, gadgets that are really helpful. I had the Miku in the beginning and was looking at it, and then I was like, I feel like my service was like not, it would take a minute and she was crying. I was like, I need to be
Oh, yeah,
listening. So I was always going to
yeah,
like cool Motorola one, but whatever it is that helps you feel calm and also
yeah,
it's night is good.
yeah, yeah. If I had the luxury, so I had all these grand plans when we first knew we were expecting, and I thought, oh, we're gonna have a baby in our bedroom in the
Yeah.
bathroom next to me, because that's the dream I always had. Because I've wanted children since I was 17. We
Yeah.
had children when I was 37, and so for 20 years I'd fantasized about how I was gonna raise my baby, and then 2 nights in, he just makes noises constantly. Like he's constantly bearing down, trying to poop. Sorry to talk about poop, everyone, but this is just my world. And so he was constantly bearing down, and so I couldn't sleep at all. He wasn't crying, and so I thought, well, we're gonna have to put him in the room across from us, which is now our makeshift nursery. So at least I don't hear all those little things, because I was getting zero sleep.
Yeah.
Every time he'd make a tiny sound, I'd get up and just make sure he was okay. And now
Oh
he
my God.
sleeps well, he doesn't sleep fine, but he doesn't, I don't hear any of those bearing down noises. So when he cries, then I get up.
Yeah, that's much better for your sanity and also for your sleep schedule.
Yeah, yes.
It'll be fun.
Oh, can we talk about sleep schedule? How long do we have? I have no idea. I didn't check with my assistant.
We can wrap it up right after this, whatever you want. Tell
No,
me
I've got time. No, you tell me when you're good to go. I'm chilling, so don't
tell
worry
me
about it.
schedule. What is it?
So do you know a service called Moms on Call?
No.
We pronounce it Moms on Call. So Moms on Call is this recommendation that I got from a few people who had just had babies, and my gosh, it's a game changer. So we didn't do any kind of sleep training initially, because he was so preemie. But once he hit his due date, at that point he was almost 8 weeks old. So we've been on it for like 3-ish weeks, maybe 3.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It just gives us so it's already some of those mom or dad books are so thick. I just think I ain't got time to read that. I know that they say sleep when the baby sleeps and do this when the baby sleeps. He doesn't sleep for that long, and I'm doing other things. I'm trying to get the house together for when he next needs my attention. And so this one's a really thin book, and it just gives you the basics of what you need. And this one gives you a detailed, like, this is when your baby should eat. This is when they should take a nap. This is for how long. This is when you need to give them a bath. This is how you give them a bath. It just made it so clear to me. And so we've been using that. And within a week, he was only waking up twice in the night. He'll wake for, like, he'll make squawks and I'll go in and check on him, but he doesn't actually need to be fed. or changed. And so that was 3.5 weeks ago. And now he's almost at the point where he only needs one
Wow.
feed and change a night, which is amazing.
That's incredible. I mean, that took me probably, I would say, 10 or 11 months. You are way ahead of.
The amount of people who have said that, but everyone who's, again, I'm not endorsed by Moms on Call in any way, I swear to you. I paid for my books. It's not gifted. But Moms on Call, I found out about through 3 different people. One of them was actually Gigi Hadid, who's a good friend. And she was like, Tan, this is a game changer. I'm gonna send you what do you call it? A noise machine and a light that goes along with this, what they call Moms on Call. Order this Moms on Call today. So I did. By the time she sent those other 2 things, with those 3 things combined, my life changed.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that I wish I'd had that when my daughter was newborn. I mean,
If you plan to have more, I swear to you, it is incredible.
I mean,
3 weeks in.
for sure. I mean, that's just like, to even know about that. I have so many friends that are pregnant. To even know about that is like, that sounds amazing.
It's amazing. Now, I will say the first few days are torture because you're not making your baby suffer, don't worry, but they are just squawking a little bit. You put the pacifier in the mouth, then they'll squawk again about 50 minutes later. You're just pushing them an hour.
Yeah.
And when I actually asked if I could speak to the people who created this method, just because I wanted some advice, and they said, look, you need to understand one simple truth about your new baby. There are solid truths when it comes to how they're feeling, and one of them is that you are not starving them. If you fed them 2.5 hours ago, they are not starving if you've got to push them for another hour.
Yeah.
And just hearing that from somebody qualified made me feel so much better. And so we pushed it just an extra 15 minutes every night, and now he just needs 1 feed a night.
Wow. I mean, you're killing the game. That is a whole, that right there, give yourself a big pat on the back for that. That's incredible.
I mean, that might not be the case in a couple of months, but for right now, it's working.
I mean, like different when the teeth come in. I mean,
I know.
Forget it.
I know.
Molars are coming in right now. It is a whole thing. So
see, my worry is when he starts to crawl and walk, and then he's going to need a lot more attention. Right now, I just think I know what I need to do: feed him, help him poop by doing some bicycle kicks, and then have him sleep. But when he's on solids and he's walking, he's going to need so much more. That's when I start to panic.
We'll circle back when that happens with you.
Yeah. However, I will tell you this. I know that I'm not, but we are hoping to implant again quite soon, inseminate again quite soon. We're older. I'm now 38. My husband's 43. We want 3. And so we're like, let's get them. And so our next one we're going to start on in January. And so
oh, wow.
I'm going to message you when we have a second one. We're going to do this again, and I'll tell you how incredibly exhausted I am at that point.
I mean, that is so if you implant in January,
we're hoping they'll be around about 14 months apart.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. My sister and I are 18 and a half months apart, and it's like,
are you close?
Very close. She's like,
that's what we want. Yeah, that's what I'm like that with my siblings. I've got 4 siblings, and we are so close, and we're so close in age also. And that's what we want for our kids. We both come from really big families, and so we want 3 in close succession, short succession.
Yeah, I mean, my sister and I are like 9 months apart. Then Patrick was born 2 years later. Then Christopher 4 years later. So we're all super. It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah, it creates this family of little best friends, and I think it's special.
Yeah, especially in the world that we live in now, the importance of like being able to have siblings and kids to play with.
Yeah.
Best. It's so
good.
Thank you so much for doing this. I loved this conversation.
Katherine, this is done way too soon. I had literally 1,000 more things to say about this parenting stuff, but we'll save it for another one. I could talk to you about it for hours. I will actually say this one last thing.
Yes.
I have been bowled over by the amount of support I've had from people who were just loose friends, like acquaintances, who have been offering support. People I've known through Instagram, but it's amazing what a community can be built around having a baby and how to keep each other sane. It's been really special.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I think especially in the world that we live in now, being able to have support in other areas where, maybe didn't even think of having support is such a huge gift. And
Yeah.
it is, you have resources, support where you didn't know you
Yeah.
had it. And it's such a huge gift. So I
Yeah.
totally that part of it. And it was
Good.
so, continues to be so helpful. So that's awesome that you feel that way.
Yeah, I really do. Well, Katherine, thanks so much for having me on. Sorry it
Oh,
took so long to get here. It's been a good
no,
couple
I
of
mean,
months.
listen, I'm so happy we chatted, and we'll chat again when you're doing it for round two and check in with
Yes.
you. And
Yes.
I'm
And when
so,
I see you in real life, I'm going to give you a big, big squeeze.
I know we need to all have a baby group together. It'll be
I
so
would, I would love it so much. All right,
awesome.
Katherine, stay safe, my love. Thank you
Thank
so much. Have a good day.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye.